It's 6 minutes after 8 o'clock, or actually 9 o'clock. Yeah, we've got the Blues and Arts Hour now at 9 o'clock, so it's 6 minutes after 9. Jim Thorn here, broadcasting live from the Mac Haik of Flowood studios. And, of course, today is Friday, and you know what that means. That means it's time for That's What's Happening's Blues and Arts Hour, a program where we feature some of Mississippi's finest singers, songwriters, musicians, and artists. And it's all possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi, your partner on the road to wellness. Also thanks to one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Well, it's been about 5.5 years since we had on the program Jeff Callaway. After he sent me some of his newest music, man, I thought I got to have this guy back. Jeff is a multi-instrumentalist. He's performed or recorded as a trombonist with legends such as John Hiatt of Master of Disaster, Bobby Rush, Jim Gaines, The Four Tops, The Temptations, Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, Dorothy Moore, Fabian, Bobby Rydell, James Darren, and Dan Aykroyd, just to name a few. He's been a music instructor in the past, has major influences in the music environment there in Oxford in particular, but also around the state. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the Blues and Arts Hour from Oxford, Jeff Callaway. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Jim. Good to be talking to you this morning.
Man, I tell you, I'm looking at your resume and the folks that you have performed with. Quite a few adventures, I'm sure.
Many adventures over the years. You certainly can't say it's been boring.
You know, I was listening to some of your music that you sent me, and I was letting my wife hear it the other day. And I tell you what, man, you've got a fan here in Thornville. We've some good stuff.
Well, that's good to hear. You know, the best thing you can tell a songwriter is that you listen to their song.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, just listening to it is kind of really all we're asking for these days.
Well, I got to mention this before we get into the program. You had some, did you have any ice up in Oxford the other day?
You know, we just had a little at the beginning on the windshield.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it stayed above freezing, so, you know, I was still able to drive to work and all that good stuff, so. It's been a little nippy, but I got a cat in my lap right now warming me up. So.
Okay. Hey, listen, the name of your latest project, what is that, Jeff? How can people find it?
Well, it's on my YouTube page. So the good news is I'm not asking them for any money. I would just like to get views and clicks at this point. I've got a YouTube channel. You can find it just under my name, Callaway, like, with all A's, like the high school in Jackson there, the same there for my grandfather.
Yeah.
And I'm calling, basically, I started recording in my bedroom, in a second bedroom, and I've got lights in there. It's all blue, so I call it the blue room. And I just started recording songs, and I looked up, and it's like, hey, I've got 11 songs. This might as well be an album. And if people can give their music away for free on Spotify, I figure I can give this away on YouTube. So I'm calling it the Blue Room Sessions. I've got 3 originals and several covers. And here's the thing. I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm like hundreds of subscribers away from doing that. So the one good thing about that is that you can put up a copyrighted tune and they can't really, there's no money for them to take away from it.
Yeah.
So I can do a Johnny Cash tune, or I can do an ELO tune, or, you know, stuff like that. And I'm still in that gray area where I get copyright strikes on the covers, but there's nothing to take away. So people can still enjoy, you know, my versions of songs like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to play a song right now. This is an original from the Blue Room Sessions. This is called It's Crazy. We'll listen to this and come back. Jeff Callaway, our very special guest on the Blues and Arts Hour.
My brain a swirl. Everywhere I look and everything I see, I can't believe what they have done. I can't like it's supposed to be. 'Cause it's crazy, living in a world that's going crazy. Everywhere you look it's full of crazy. Or is it me? Am I crazy for pointing out that everything is crazy? You'll probably tune me out and call me crazy. So let it be.
Jeff Callaway, and that is so cool, Jeff. I tell you what, it's crazy and appropriate for the times, isn't it? After coming out of these 2 years of COVID, right?
Very, very appropriate. You know, COVID kind of wrecked everything. COVID wrecked musical careers. COVID wrecked, you know, I have friends that had to close restaurants because of it.
Yeah.
We've all lost friends through COVID. You know, it's funny, being a trombone player, you're always the seventh man in a world of five-piece band. And unless you're a trombone shorty and you've got your own thing going, it's sort of hard to do it. But right before COVID, I was getting calls to actually front bands for the first time in my life. You know, friends that run restaurants and do functions and stuff up here. And I had 3 months of pay your bills, frontman gigs lined up, and then COVID hit.
Wow.
And just snapped it out.
Yeah.
So it kind of wiped it out, and I'm still trying to sort of regain some momentum from that. But, you know, unlike other friends of mine, at least I'm here to keep trying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the album is called The Blue Room Sessions. Our special guest, Jeff Callaway, on the Blues and Arts Hour. And we're going to take a break and come back and enjoy some more really fine music from Jeff. I'm Jim Thorn. You're listening to the Blues and Arts Hour on 103.9 WYAB. And, of course, the show is made possible every week by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. Thanks also to one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Our time now is 9:15. 20 minutes after 9, welcome back. I'm Jim Thorn, broadcasting from the Mac Haika Flowood Studios, and it's the Blues and Arts Hour. Our featured guest is Jeff Callaway, and what a talent he is. Jeff, I guess you're kind of known as a trombonist, but you do play other instruments too, don't you?
Yes. About 30 years ago, I started trying to learn to play guitar, and I guess I can almost play it well enough to record now. So that's an achievement. A couple of years ago, I learned I can play a three-quarter size bass, not a regular size bass, but I have a very unorthodox guitar playing style. I lay it in my lap and turn it up, and I play it like a lap steel. And all of my guitar friends, when they see me, they're like, "Let me show you how to really do that." And I'm like, "No, I'm a big monkey gorilla. This is how I have to do it." But so that last song you played, that was all me. That was just me in the studio. Didn't have any help. I like to have help. I'd rather have help, but you know, when it's 3 a.m. and you want to get a song finished, that's just what you do. So some of the stuff has keyboard, different brass instruments. Yeah, I am known as a trombone player. I would like to be known also as a songwriter.
Yeah.
So thank you for the help in trying to get the songs out to the public today.
Well, there's one song on this that I don't know if we'll get a chance to play, but something about, will you play this on the radio? You know?
That's a Monty Python song.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it's super short. I hope you can squeeze it in.
Yeah,
that's my homage to one of my heroes, Eric Idle.
Okay, we'll definitely try to do that. But you've been playing music for a long time. How did it all start, Jeff?
Well, like a lot of kids in Mississippi, I started band in 6th grade and went through high school, and then I played in college, and then I was teaching and got an opportunity to go to Chicago to work on a master's. And while I was there, I got a bartending job where we played music. And that's where I got exposed to a lot of really great experienced seasoned musicians who sort of showed me what I didn't know. Then I moved back to Oxford in the early 90s to work on another degree. And eventually I got to the point through the experience I had in Chicago where I was able to be hired by bands mainly in Jackson. Bob Davidson hired me for the Capital City Band and the Blues Boys Band. And then I started getting enough work to where I would get other work. And then I ended up with a crazy sort of, now I've got friends that have discographies much bigger than mine, but I don't know that anybody's is as varied as mine.
Yeah.
Like I've put trombone on punk records, on country records, on Americana records, just about any style you can imagine. So that's sort of one of my little niches, is that I can pretty much figure out where to put it anywhere and have people not want to kick me off stage.
Well, the latest project is the Blue Room Sessions. A song I've got queued up, Jeff, is called Everybody Loves Me from a Distance. Any comments on this before we play it?
Yeah, this is the song this is the first song I recorded. I moved back to Oxford a few years ago and set up a studio. And then, and this is for everyone listening that wants to be creative but is apprehensive about it. Like a lot of artists, I suffer from depression and stuff like that, and that's a great excuse to not do something. And sometimes it's not an excuse. Sometimes you just don't feel it. But you have to get to the point to where you just want to flush that away and do it. I got so mad at myself that I said, all right, I'm going in that room, and I'm not getting out of that chair until I record a song, and I don't care how bad it sounds. I'm going to finish a song.
Yeah.
And it took me a couple of hours because I wasn't sweating the details. I just was putting down tracks. And when I got done with it, I was listening, and I have a decent microphone, but everything that you're hearing today was recorded on an iPad with a good mic.
Wow. Okay.
So not a big, elaborate setup. Just a GarageBand on an iPad Pro.
Wow.
But I did spend some money and got a really good microphone. That does make a difference. But I listened to it, and I was like, this actually sounds good. To me, and artists are always the harshest critics on themselves.
Yeah.
We will rip ourselves to death while other people are thinking what we're doing is like a magic act or good. And most of my friends that are in the recording industry, they listened to it and they said, no, that recording sounds good. So, whatever little foibles are in the performance, that just makes it human.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's a song that
let's enjoy.
Not existed in a while, but I got it down, and it's you never know. I've heard for years, you never know what people are going to respond to.
Yeah.
And I didn't think people would really respond to that song, but they really have.
Yeah. Well, let's enjoy it. This is Everybody Loves Me from a Distance. Again, our special featured artist is Jeff Callaway.
Not so much up close. Everybody tells me they love me till they get the full dose. They say they love me, they say they really care. They always always say it from way on over there. Everybody tells me they love me, not so much up close. They say they really care. I guess the truth is I'm just too much to bear. Everybody loves me from a distance, not so much up close, not so much up close.
Jeff Callaway, Everybody Loves Me from a Distance. Got a great feel, Jeff, and you're doing all the instrumentation and vocals too, right?
Yeah, on that one, that was all me.
Yeah, well, and that story that you told setting the song up, I mean, that's got to be inspiring to other people, and I would imagine that kind of you had that influence on others too.
Well, I hope so, because the truth is, when you create something artistically, and it doesn't matter what genre you're in, whether it's visual arts, musical arts, when you combine them, it doesn't matter. When you do something creatively, you engage parts of your brain that when you are creative, you're in the frontal lobes of your brain. And anyone that has any problems with depressive thoughts, depression feelings, all that stuff is back in the reptilian part of the brain. And when you're creating, it's basically like you're shutting that stuff down, and it's like therapy.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually, you say it's like therapy, but it's not a metaphor. It is therapy, and it's the cheapest therapy I know of. It's a lot cheaper to sit down and write a song than to pay to go see a shrink.
And, really what you were talking about, sometimes you really do have to force yourself to take those steps to get better, to kind of heal, right?
And it's just fear. All it is, it's fear. Whether you want to write a book or you want to write a song or you want to perform, there's a fear in the back of everyone's mind that it won't be good enough, that they'll be made fun of, that they'll be put down, that it won't be as good as it is in their head. And it's rarely as good as it is in your head, but that should never stop you. The good news is once you get going and you say, oh, this isn't that big a deal, the creation of it isn't the only part, it's not the big deal, I just need to get it out. It is so gratifying for people to be able to hear stuff that's been rolling around in my head for years.
Yeah.
It really is.
Jeff, we're going to take a break for our CBS News update and come back and enjoy some more terrific music and conversation. Again, our special guest, Jeff Callaway, on the Blues and Arts Hour. I'm Jim Thorn. The show is made possible every week by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. Also thanks to one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Our time now is 9:30. Welcome back. It's 25 minutes until 10. I'm Jim Thorn, broadcasting from the Mac Haika Flowood Studios. It's the Blues and Arts Hour. And, of course, that show is made possible every week by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. Thanks also to one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway, Ridgeland. Our special guest today is Jeff Callaway, and what a performer. Instrumentalist he is, a singer, songwriter, and Jeff, you've got a YouTube channel, and I guess folks can find a lot of your music right there, right?
They can find all of my music right there. I'm not on Spotify, or I may have to end up going to Spotify and those streaming services one day, but it's just, to me, basically you're giving your music away. So right now I'm giving it away on YouTube. And people, they can find me. It's just under my name, Jeff Callaway, all A's, just like the high school there in Jackson. And, yeah. So I've got these original songs, and I've got some of the original jazz that we played the last time I was on your show. That's on there. A reggae band that I was in, the Hemp Tones. I've got some cuts from there where I'm playing trombone through guitar pedals, and that's pretty interesting. And
that's terrific. I would encourage our listeners to check that out, and I know you'll enjoy it. He's so well-rounded in the different styles of music, Jeff, that you encompass. You're a forever learner, aren't you?
I am eternally curious. That is very true. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is.
Well, listen, I have a song that I want you to talk about before we play it. It's called Bryan's Song. Tell us about that.
Well, that is a song by my good friend Tommy Bryan Ledford. It is a Kudzu Kings song. Kudzu Kings are a legendary band. They're still active, playing around. I think they play Jackson, New Orleans, still occasionally. But it's a song. Bryan is a gifted songwriter. He used to write songs and commercials for Thacker Mountain Radio when he was in the house band. And Bryan's song is the story of a musician who's playing bars, sometimes just for the waitress, and he's wondering why, if that's what he should still be doing, or if that's, but at the end, even though he might have regrets, he still loves the life he's living.
All right, well, let's enjoy this. This is called Bryan's Song. Again, this is Jeff Callaway.
Well, I'm amazed at all the crap that's on the radio. Just when I think it couldn't get worse, it does. And I start to think I should have gone to law school. Well, if that's what it takes to make it, well, I ain't got it, 'cause there's a hole in my heart where the music comes from. That's why I keep on playing, despite my mama's praying that I'll stop and become a productive member of society and starve to death all these dreams inside of me. But there's nights up on stage you make it all worthwhile. But those moments slip away from me somehow. 'Cause after one more lonely night, I play it for the waitress. I wish I'd never chosen the life I'm living now. 'Cause but there's a hole in my heart where the music and become a reproductive member of society. Starve to death, all these dreams inside of me. But there's nights under the lights that make it all worthwhile. But those moments slip away from me somehow. 'Cause after one more lonely night of playing for the waitress, I wish I'd never chosen the life I'm living now. But tell the truth, I'm loving the life I'm living now.
Bryan's song. That's Jeff Callaway. And Jeff, that's a message that I think a lot of people can relate to, brother.
Absolutely. I would like to mention the musicians that played on that briefly,
Yes.
if I may. That's
Sure.
Nick Spiller on electric guitar, Jason Ball on bass, Ricky Burkhead, who's the percussion instructor at Ole Miss, playing cajon, and Wynn McElroy, who recorded that. He played the solo, and Justin Shawa is singing the high country vocals that I can't reach.
That's wonderful. Now, that's on your YouTube channel too, right, Jeff?
That is on the YouTube channel.
Right.
That recording is not new. I did that more than 10 years ago
Yeah.
and sat on it.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's another thing. I mentioned the fear factor earlier. I recorded 5 songs in an afternoon with a group, and they did a great job, and I ended up sitting on them because 2 of the songs weren't quite what I wanted. But I went back and listened to them the other day, and it's like, man, this sounds great. What are you doing? Don't be an idiot. So I posted 3 of the songs off that session that I think hold up. Shemaine, and also Leavin' Blues, which is the first song I ever wrote.
Yeah, terrific. Jeff Callaway, our guest on the Blues and Arts Hour. My name is Jim Thorn. You're listening to 103.9 WYAB. We're going to continue with one more segment, some more music and conversation with a very talented and gifted instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, Jeff Callaway. Our time now is 15 minutes until 10 o'clock. Welcome back. It's 11 minutes until 10. Jim Thorn here on the Blues and Arts Hour, made possible every week by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. Thanks also to locally owned, one-of-a-kind Fusion Coffee House on Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Jeff Callaway has been our featured artist this morning, and what some terrific music he has recorded from the Blue Room Sessions on YouTube channel. Check that out. Jeff, Oxford, you're from Oxford, you're living in Oxford, and understand it's a pretty happening music scene up there, and they recognize you in a pretty heavy way, too. Tell us about that, and don't be shy, okay?
Well, we have a local paper, the Local Voice, and they have for decades now been highlighting all of the talent in this town, and it's super crazy the amount of talent in this town, not just musicians, but performers, writers, people, chefs. I mean, it's just crazy how many talented people there are. And I was named this year's favorite horn player. And I'll be honest, when I was younger, I don't know that was that big a deal to me. I just kind of brushed it off. And now that I'm pushing 60, I'll be 60 later this month. It's a tremendous honor for people to think of you enough to write your name down in a positive way. So to everybody that took part in that, my deepest appreciation and thanks. I'm very grateful.
That's wonderful. And that was rightly given to the right person. So I think they made a very, very, very good choice. And I know many other people.
Well, if you took everybody on the list, we'd have a heck of a horn section, because everybody on that list is an awesome player, and they inspire me. Yeah. Every person that I was on that list with.
Yeah. All right, I have a song now, Jeff. It's called I Wish I Was Playing for You. This is an original, and I know you've got a little background story on this.
Right. Well, back in the 90s, I was an anonymous food critic. I called myself the Food King, which is an Animal House reference. Anybody my age would get that. And it didn't last long, but I only did 4 columns, but one of the columns was written, was quoted in a book by Jim Dees, and one of the columns is still taught by a friend of mine at the journalism department at Ole Miss. So people seem to respond to my writing about food, and they have for decades. I've got people that follow me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, when I do food posts, whether it's recipes or restaurant promotions. It's not a review. I don't say negative things anymore about anybody working in the industry. I just try to promote things that are good. But people would say, "Oh, you should work in you should start a restaurant," and all the civilians go, "Yeah," and all the pros go, "Yeah, we're gonna." But I am now working in a restaurant, in a kitchen. I've got bartending training, but I got tired of bartending. When you're 60, you don't want to be bartending for drunks a third of your age anymore. Yeah. So I'm working in the kitchen at a restaurant in Oxford, rolling gyros and doing French fries and working with some great people that are very accepting of a senior citizen in the kitchen at this point in his life. But this song, Wish I Was Playing for You, and my boss heard it and she liked it and she thought it was funny and she didn't fire me. So that's good. But it's about, I'm doing this stuff in the restaurant and it's cool, but I'd rather be playing a gig somewhere.
All right. Well, let's enjoy.
And I discovered that I think I'm a better whistler than I am a singer.
All right. Let's check that out. All right. Jeff Callaway, I Wish I Was Playing for You.
I ain't got no finances, I live from check to check. You might think rolling euros at 59 might dent my self-respect. No, it's an honest job and not what I spent decades trying to do. 'Cause I wish that I was playing for you. Well, I fry your fries and hot balls and I make your pizza pie. I fix your Brussels sprouts and then your sweet potato fries. My boss is great, my job is great, and everybody's cool. But I still wish that I was playing for you. Nobody in the kitchen gives me crap because I'm old. The only thing they care about is how the euro folds. It's not like I'm complaining, that does no good, it's true. But I still wish that I was playing for you. Well, I played with pros and legends and Grammy winners too. But now I'm rolling hot balls and my hands are full of goo. Well, I'm grateful for employment, I swear that much is true. I just wish that I was playing for you.
All right. Jeff Callaway, I Wish I Was Playing for You. Jeff, you really touch a chord with so many people in these songs, and I want to just stress to our listeners that you're so versatile. We haven't touched on your jazz or some of the other music that you've done, but pretty amazing. But yeah, you do touch a chord with a lot of different people.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
What's in the future? I mean, I know we just heard that song, but what would you like to see yourself doing in the next 2-3 years?
Well, the dream of every creative is to make a living off of being creative. I'm currently making a living working in a kitchen, and it's a good kitchen with great people. I am happy and fortunate to have that job. But I would like to, I'd like to get some songs placed in TV shows and movies. I'd like to get a screenplay, produced. I would like to figure out some way to be able to make a living off of my creativity. But, that's a crapshoot, and you have to know it's a crapshoot going in.
And I think the lesson that we're hearing from you, Jeff, is that we do what we have to do, but the attitude stays true. Am I right about that?
Yeah, because if your attitude is down, it's going to affect whatever you create.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the world, that first song, it's crazy. The world is a whack job right now. And I think the best thing any of us can do is to try to bring some peace and solace and comfort to other people, so that we can know that we are all in this together. We're very fractured right now.
Mm-hmm.
And on social media, I don't play that game. I'm not critical of half of my audience, because I believe in universal consciousness and that we're all one spark of the one true creator. So arguing with people is counterproductive to me. I try to do things that lift people up and make them feel a little bit better about where they're at.
You've the music you have here, it's called the Blue Room Sessions. And again, how can people find that, Jeff?
It's on YouTube. If you search for my channel, it's under my name, Jeff Callaway, spelled with all A's.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a playlist. If you go to a YouTube channel, there's a playlist section, and you'll see the playlist. Now, they're just on there regular, but at the playlist, I kind of put them in an album order, and it kind of tells a little story. And I've got other songs that aren't mine. I did a cover of the Johnny Cash, Trent Reznor, Hurt. I did a tune by the great Mississippian Mose Allison. I Don't Worry About a Thing, because I know nothing's going to be all right. I covered Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy. I did a live version of an ELO song, Can't Get It Out of My Head.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're all short. Everything's between 2 and 4 minutes, so it's not too much of a time drain. And hopefully people will find it and enjoy it, and maybe even subscribe and leave a comment, because the YouTube algorithm is quite fickle,
Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, you've got some fans here, and my wife and I, we love your music. I know our listeners have enjoyed hearing it, and I hope our listeners will check it out. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Let's not wait 5.5 more years to have you back, Jeff.
I am at your disposal whenever you need it, buddy.
All right. I want to play a song rolling out of the program. It's kind of a dare from Jeff. It's called I Bet They Won't Play This Song on the Radio, and I'm gonna take that dare, and we're gonna play it. And again, I want to thank Jeff Callaway for being our special guest today. I want to thank our sponsor too, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. Thanks also to one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Until next week, I'm Jim Thorn. Thanks for listening. God bless. Here's Jeff Callaway. Thanks again, Jeff.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, I bet you they won't play this song on the radio. I bet you they won't play this new King song. It's not that it's or controversial. It's just that the King words are awfully strong. You can't say on the radio or who. You can't even say I'd like to you someday, unless you're a doctor with a very large. So I bet you they won't play this song.